This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Now, to show our gratitude, we're not going to be like the other guys and jerk you around and bullshit you. We're going to tell you the truth.
Shane Douglas is the man who ignites the new flame of the sport of professional wrestling. The era of the franchise. The era of the ECW. Hold me close, don't ever let me go. More than words. Oh my God! I ever needed you to show that you
the New York Times. Place to Be Nation. It is time to get extreme. I'm JT. Joining me here on PTBN's Extreme 308 Dance and ECW Podcast Retrospective are my extreme teammates in this extreme menage a trois. Fucked it up again, but we're going to go with it. I was going to work at Hostile and Extreme multiple times. I was trying to do it all, but this menage a trois of hostility. John D'Amato, Jenny Smith. How are you both doing today?
Even better now. That was great.
Yeah,
Thank you
good.
for that.
Okay, glad you like it. Mm-hmm. John, how are you?
I am the complete opposite of hostile.
I don't know. You're hostile. You've been very hostile lately. Actually, I'm gonna disagree with that take.
Ooh.
This heel turn isn't working.
No, it's a failure. It's a bomb. I don't like it.
It's been met with crickets. Yeah.
Baby face for life.
The chat room heel turns don't usually pay off well, so I'd try just to avoid it. They usually end in separation and bitterness. So I would just
when you get no response, it's when you get crickets, it's time to give it up.
Time to go face again. That's it. Randy Orton's done it multiple times. Big show. You're fine. You can still make that cash even with the multiple turns. Anyway, so here on this podcast, what we do is we go through the history of ECW TV. We started in February 94. We're doing the weekly hardcore TVs as well as whatever big shows are available to us. Last episode here, on episode 10, we looked at Hostile City Showdown 94. And now we're going to pick it up with 3 weeks of television following that big show, starting off with the June 28th, 94 installment of ECW television. We open with quick highlights of Terry Funk hog-tying Rock at Hostile City Showdown, and then we get our opening animation and head into our opening match.
Now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now.
That was a listener request, that song, for the Funk Brothers. So thank you. We do take requests here on the DJ line. If you have any songs you want to hear that you think fit.
We got a DJ booth in the Eagles Nest.
Very fitting name for you two, Fat Boy Slim.
All right. The Funk Brothers are here, Terry and Dory Jr., taking on the makeshift team of Hack Myers and Stevie Richards, or Steve Richards, I should call him. Sadly, even though we had Joey Styles at Hostile City Showdown, I warned you guys not to get too excited, because Willie Scoop Watts back in the booth.
Boo.
And I think I know why. Listen. I think I know why. Don't worry, Joey's coming back. But I think the reasoning is the Hostile City Showdown was the video, like the tape, that Joey probably laid in commentary after his return, and then that tape release. So I don't think he was officially back yet. I'm guessing he wasn't actually at that show. They just dubbed him in. So
that makes sense.
That's why we still get the scooper here. But he's with us. He's gushing over the legendary Funk Brothers. Hack and Terry start off as Scoop is talking up what a golden treat this is to see the Funks live. He gives a decent little history lesson about them. We reset with Dory taking the fight right to young Steve Richards, laying in measured uppercuts. This is like a classic highlight reel for the Funks. You're just kind of getting their best hits. Steve bails and Terry crotches him on the rail outside. Back inside, Dory hits a double underhook suplex for one. Terry tags in, as does Hack. Brings a lot of fire in his offense, but Terry just shrugs it off, unloads, and chucks him over the top rope and through a table. Terry is busted open, and Dory smashes Hack with a chair. Back inside, Terry hits a DDT for two, and we get a double Funk clothesline. Dory struggles a bit and eventually hits a double underhook on Hack in a fun spot. Steve makes a save on a cover, and Hack heats back up, picking up near falls. Richards tags in, hits a sharp super kick for 2. Terry recovers and hits a tombstone for 2, and then goes to a hard side headlock. Dory tags in and cranks on that headlock, and then we get quick tags. The Funks work a little bit of a clinic on Richards. Dory takes him down through a headlock and twists him into a pin for the finish, which I thought was kind of cool and unique. You don't see that too often. He just kind of grounded him to the mat and pinned him, kind of an old-school shooter-hooker methodology there. A fun little tag match, effectively a squash, but a cool spectacle in some ways, and a clinic in classic tag work. Hack and Stevie hung in. They worked hard in the defeat. And this was, I think Scoop hit it on the head. It was kind of a treat. Like, how often did you think you get to see the Funk Brothers just work a basic TV tag in 1994 in some bar in Philadelphia? So it's pretty neat historically to see a match like this thrown out there for us, and probably not many more we'll see with at least with Dory. So, John, what did you think of this one as our opener? I went 2.25.
Yeah, 2.5 sounds good. A lot of old man moves. Definitely old school. And Scoops, he lost his shit when Dory hit Steve with the chair. You know, he gave him just a basic chair shot, and Scoops lost his mind, saying, "Oh, Dory's seduced by ECW." But
we're all seduced by ECW, really.
Aren't we?
I never get tired of Dory's forearms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a simple move, but he executes it perfectly. It just shows you don't have to do the crazy moonsaults and stuff to get over. Simple forearms, just perfectly executed. I love it.
They're so snug too. So snug.
Yeah. I went about 2 stars on it though. I don't know. It was good. I mean, I liked it, but kind of toned down from the last time I saw the Funk Brothers. You know, it's like you were hog tying somebody, and now you're doing this. So it's like
the Funk
a little bit of a letdown. Yeah, you're
brother.
right. Sorry.
But also the vibe in the arena, was it the usual spot or was it a different spot?
It looked different to me.
Yeah, and the vibe was definitely
this
a lot
crowd
calmer.
sucked.
Yeah, they were definitely somebody roofied the crowd.
So wait, were they? I wonder if this is the same taping from the last one though, or was that last one? No, they weren't in the arena for the last ones, right?
I think they were.
I don't think this was the normal spot because that crowd definitely was.
Yeah, all right. So we may still be part of that. This might be like the back end of that long tape.
Yeah, that last the last tape because the next 2 looks like they're back home.
Yeah, that would make sense why Scoop is still here too. Like it was probably pre-Joey coming back and everything. It must have just been lingering. Any other thoughts, Jenny? Again?
No, just kind of. Yeah, it was fine.
Okay,
no big deal.
All right, we get highlights of Public Enemy and the Funks from Hostile City Showdown. Public Enemy join us from the South Bronx. They call out Terry for trying to choke out Rock, but laugh that he failed. And on July 16th, they will take out the Funks in barbed wire. They'll make their bodies look like road maps. And the Funks better be ready. He says their grandma got a lot of crap at the senior home for beating up on old men as well. So this was a quality Public Enemy as usual.
Yep.
We then hear from Shane Douglas and Mr. Hughes. They say what they're going to do. They're going to do what Dirty F and WCW were afraid to do, put a cage match on television. Shane compares himself to the great war general thanks to his design and preparation. They will take out the Bruise Brothers by dividing and conquering after eliminating their top asset, fighting outside the ring. He did what he had to do. He has a great offensive lineman in front of him. Hughes is fired up. I thought this was a sharp promo. The Bruise Brothers then say they're ready to get it on inside the trenches tonight. They're used to getting locked in jailhouse cages and says there's always a boy from the hood in there trying to be tough. It says that Hughes isn't as bad as he thinks he is. Good fire, but I would say some questionable content given the comparison to Mr. Hughes being a boy from the hood. So, Jenny, do you have any thoughts on the promos here from Public Enemy, Douglas and Hughes, and the Bruise Brothers?
I like how it was shot behind that fence. So the fence was between the camera and them. It looks really cool. Menacing, and Shane was comparing himself to all these war generals and stuff, and then the Bruise Brothers pop up, and I'm like, y'all please don't talk about World War II and being generals, okay? So I really don't need to hear that right now. Thankfully,
Mussolini was the best war general. John,
I love the Public Enemy. They mixed it up. They weren't goofy. They were serious and intense, and they also showed they could go that way too, and not just acting like goofballs. And Also, they dropped the famous Wu-Tang lyric, "Cream, cash rules everything around me." They're always using current hits in their promos. I love it.
That would have came out pretty recent to this, right? Probably 93 or so.
Yeah, that's the wheelhouse. Yep.
Kareem came out
dollar bill, y'all.
January
Dollar
31st,
bill, y'all.
94. It came out, so yeah, it was pretty new. Yep, received universal praise from music critics. Speaking of music, we get a music video with highlights of Sabu and Chad Austin. They'll fight next week. Highlights of the Kane match from Hostile City Showdown. Then we hear from Woman and Sandman backstage. They basically call Peaches a slut. And then Sandman demands payment again for everything that Cairo's been using. Woman says the debt has come due. Anything there, you guys?
Yeah, when also he said the chastity belt hasn't worked because everyone has the key.
That's a good one. And some people's chastity belt only works because no one wants the key. But, both ways. Jenny, anything on that?
Nah, I'm good on that.
All right, then we pretty much go right into what ends up being our main event of the evening is a big tag team match as Shane Nicholas and Mr. Hughes come out to take on them gritty Bruise Brothers. Douglas cuts a good promo in the cage before we get going. The Bruise Brothers come in. They get right to it. Harris and Douglas tossing bombs, and it looks like this will be traditional tag rules just inside a cage. Ron comes in and clubs away, gets 2 on a back suplex. After we take a break, Douglas almost escapes the cage, but Ron grabs him back in, works him over, and grounds him. Douglas escapes and tags Hughes, who unloads a dropkick and stops Don from escaping. Douglas comes back in, hits a suplex, and him and Hughes start to work a nice little tag offense. Watts gives some history on Douglas and Hughes, and I think he's really improved, actually. I didn't mind him here tonight. He's doing well mixing in the historical angles and not being as kind of subdued. Douglas hits a sharp fist off the top rope. Don is busted wide open. Watts says Douglas has some interesting stuff about Sherry and Ric Flair on the ECW hotline. So scoop with the scoops on Sensational Sherry and Ric Flair. After another break, Douglas is also busted open. He gets 2 on a belly-to-belly, goes into a Boston Crab. Paul E. dangerously comes in the booth and says Watts has been doing a lousy job, and he mocks his last name, of course, taking a shot at Bill Watts. Hughes whips Don hard to the cage, and Douglas claws at the cut. Paul says Shane has to face off with Sabu for the title on July 16th, so there's our big main event for that show. Paul puts over Tommy Dreamer as a future contender as Hughes chokes out Don with some tape. Don eventually fights free and tags in Ron, who mows through Hughes and slugs down Shane. Things break down into a brawl that ends with the Bruise Brothers double-teaming Hughes. Hughes slugs back, and now he and Shane double-team Ron in the corner, getting some near falls. Hughes gets a heavy leg drop, drags Ron's face across the cage. Douglas and Hughes hit a double suplex. Paul shits all over Watts again in a harsh rant. I mean, he just really lays into him. Mm-hmm. And he leaves the Harris boys as they take turns, turn the tide, getting 2 off of slinging Shane into the cage. Don grabs a chinlock as Ron is barely hanging on in the corner. The Harris boys hit a double suplex and get 2 as Douglas is grasping at his shoulder in pain. Douglas rakes the eyes to break the hold and stumbles along the edge of the ring. Harris comes over and kicks him, and that knocks Douglas to the floor out of the door for the win. I like that finish. It keeps the Bruise Brothers strong, but Douglas gets the win, and he really didn't earn, but everyone hung tough. Good cage, a lot of varied offense and flow from both teams. The blood was good, too. It never really dragged on, and I thought it was pretty good chemistry. Douglas and Hughes have turned into a nice little team, both as a kind of a bodyguard and wrestler and as a tag team. I thought Douglas and Hughes also looked, strong even with the weak win. They really hung in and went toe-to-toe. That was a fun television bout, Jenny. I went 3 stars.
3 stars? So did I. So last time when we talked about the Bruise Brothers, we mentioned how they should keep their gimmick outside, the ring and brawl in the crowd. So we caged them up, and I thought it worked out better than I expected.
Right.
Because I was like, oh man, this is going to kind of suck because I wanted to see them brawling in the crowd. But I liked how they used the cage. I thought everybody looked really good. Like, Shane was pretty dominant, and I did like him and Hughes together, probably for the first time. I thought they worked really well. I was really surprised at how much I liked this one, and I was surprised by the finish as well when Shane fell out the door or got kicked out the door. I was glad to hear Paul E. invade the booth.
I mean,
for a
he
little
completely just buries Watts.
He says, lousiest announcer in wrestling since they took David Crockett off the air, which I thought was pretty funny.
Poor David Crockett.
I know, bless his heart. What about you, John?
I didn't like it as much as you guys. Once again, the crowd kind of sucked the life out of me.
Yes, they did suck.
Wherever the hell this was, they wasn't feeling it. It was a very tepid reaction, and the offense was kind of methodical. I wasn't as high on the finish as you guys. Just a couple stars, but I did love Paul Lee's little digs there. He said Hughes with the low blow. He learned that move in the hood, and then the Harris brothers did a low blow, and then they learned it in the biker bar. Paul Lee just using all the cliches, and when Hughes was choking Harris with the tape, and it was. I'm just glad it wasn't the other way around.
All right.
I did like this. I did like the story and how Shane explained it in the promo about the importance of the cage, and because Jenny, you touched on it, like even how we felt both the Bruise Brothers and how good they are brawling. Like, so you basically said we're taking away your best weapon, which is going out into the crowd and fighting all over the place by making you be locked in the ring with a pure wrestler like Shane Douglas. Like, I really like that part.
Me too. And, they did kind of get beat up, but I thought they did well. They did better than I would expect in a match like this.
What do you think, John? Did you like that part of it?
Yeah, not as much as you guys, but once again, the finish, even though it's different, it didn't do much for me.
All right, we get a promo from Shane Douglas, or for Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer wrestling next week. So that's a big match on the docket for our next show. And then we revisit Paulie Dangerously and Cactus Jack's promos from Hostile City Showdown. And then we get highlights from Sabu and Cactus as well. And that closes out the episode, which is a kind of interesting one tonight. Best match, I had Bruise Brothers versus Hughes and Douglas.
I did too.
Nah, I like Funks. I like the Funks better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I went that for worst, but I mean, they were close. It was only by default. I like them both. Best moment, I gave the Funk's entrance. I thought this was really cool seeing them come out for this random TV tag match in this atmosphere.
Funk's entrance. It was Paul Lee's run-in for sure.
No, I like that Public Enemy promo.
Yeah, that was good too. Most 90s, I went with Steve Richards' perma mullet hair.
I went with his whatever the fuck he was wearing. Looks like boxer shorts or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Steve Richards. Yeah.
Just in general, just him as a person.
Stock Rising, I went Douglas and Hughes and the Bruise.
Yep.
Public Enemy.
And Stock Falling, I went with Hack Myers.
Hack Myers.
Yeah, Hack is whack.
All right, and for final grade, I mean, I like this enough. I mean, to have like what I consider 3-star match, and then I liked the Funk's match. The promo was good. Did a ton happen on this show? No. Was it kind of meandering coming off a big show? Yes, but so even if you want to call it down the middle, but to me, it got a bump because I thought the matches were kind of rarely good for like ECW TV. We had 2 matches and both were entertaining, and plus the unique Funk's TV match in this atmosphere. So I went 6 out of 10 for this one, Jenny.
I was a little happy when I watched this, so I went 7 out of 10.
Wow.
6.
All right.
Yeah, 6.
All right, so there's our first episode down, and we head to our next one. And that's July 5th, 1994, holiday weekend. We open with a hype promo for the Funks and Public Enemy's barbed wire match on July 16th, and then we hit our opening animation, and Public Enemy is indeed in action to kick off the show against a new team that we haven't seen yet. This was another request, but not from a fan, but from one of our co-hosts. As Public Enemy takes on Phi Delta Slam. Well, I don't think we've seen yet, right? Is this their first time on screen?
First time,
okay.
Yes.
Scoop Watts is still here, by the way. So we open with this tag match. Watts says Phi Delta Slam's made a big name for themselves in Florida and thanks a local Tampa affiliate for sending info. And that's one of those little things I really like about ECW and promotions like this, where they pay attention to those. It's such a minor detail, but it's just really cool that he brings that up. Like, how else would he know about them? He's not going to follow around Phi Delta Slam. You get some guys like Gorilla or Gene Okerlund that play up like they've seen them, or I've seen tons of like. This sounds more real to me. Like, okay, this is kind of an obscure team from Florida, but hey, this Tampa station that shows their matches sent us some footage so we could get familiar with them. Like, I like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The team is made up of Big Tilly and Bruno Sassy. Wrestled principally.
What?
That is their names. They
Bruno
wrestled
and
mainly in
Sassy.
Florida. Sassy began wrestling on the Florida independent circuit, formed a team with brother Dan Evans. Evans and Sassy used the gimmick of a pair of boisterous prank-playing fraternity members. Evans retired. Sassy continued to use the gimmick and eventually found a new partner in Big Tilly. Sassy and Tilly then became known as Phi Delta Slam, making their ECW debut on June 26th, 1994, and this indeed is their first television appearance. They wouldn't do too. I think pretty much after this, they'll be on a little bit for us, but then they just kind of bounce around Florida and eventually actually work TNA a bit, John, in the 2000s. They resurfaced there. So they're around for a while. But here we go. Rock and Bruno start off as Watts hypes the barbed wire match and also talks about Phi Delta Slam's amateur credentials and lack of fear going into this match. They look like they're ready to throw down. Bruno works through both Public Enemy. Tilly comes in. We get a double. And I had to look up their pictures and try and match their names based on their pictures. They do get different names, I think, eventually here. But for now, I just went with Bruno and Tilly. They don't call them anything in the match. Like, Watts never says their names at all.
Yeah, he just says, "Oh, these Florida, these collegiate champions."
Yeah, that's it. He never says anything. So we'll go Bruno and Tilly for now. All right, so Tilly comes in. We get a double hip toss to clear the ring. Tilly controls Rock, and he returns as Phi Delta Slam, is just dominating the match. Tilly catches Rock at a leapfrog and hits a back suplex for 2. Grunge kicks Tilly in the back as he hits the ropes, and that turns the tide. Grunge gets a nice short arm clothesline and leg drop for 2. Grunge unloads until Tilly comes back and hammers in the corner until Grunge takes him down with an inverted atomic drop. Rock tags in, keeps bringing the heat. Public Enemy tags in and out, batters Tilly, slugging and choking away, grabbing near falls. Bruno gets a tag, but the ref misses it. Public Enemy double teams. Bruno finally gets a tag and flies through both Public Enemy, but eventually gets shot to the floor where a brawl erupts and chairs start flying. Phi Delta Slam is hanging in, going right at Public Enemy, which Watts highlights. Rock misses a dive off the apron, crashes through a table. Watts is hyping a big upset in the making, possibly. Rock gets shoved into the post, but back inside, Grunge shoots Bruno hard to the corner and hits a side suplex. Rock pastes Tilly with a chair outside. Excuse me. Grunge and Rock finish Bruno with the drive-by. I thought this was a low-key fun match with a hot finish. Phi Delta showed up big in their debut. Like, they looked really good in losing. Public Enemy hangs on and stays hot. But I thought this was a really good opener. It was really fun. And I love seeing Phi Delta Slam just go right at Public Enemy. When you look at them, you figure, okay, a couple jobbers. They're just going to kind of get beat up quick like all the other guys we've seen. But they're really presented as legit competition and make a name for themselves. So, John, I went 2 3/4. I really enjoyed this as an opener.
Yeah, 2.5. I was shocked. Right along the same lines. I just figured that Public Enemy would squash him, and they really gave him a lot of shine. They sold for him and everything, and treated them as equals. I was shocked by that.
Like equals.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot too. I went 2 and 2 3/4. Yes, that's right. I can do math. Do you know which one was Tilly and which one was Bruno? The one with the beard and the one without the beard.
I don't remember now because I watched it a little bit ago. But okay. I looked up their pictures on Google and then tried to match. When I looked, they look different in the ring versus the pictures I could find. But I'm pretty sure I had gotten a hand of which was which. So if you go back and watch, the one that gets pinned is Bruno, from what I could tell.
But Scoops did he even identify them as Phi Delta Slam? Because to me it just sounded like he just said, "Oh, the Florida collegiate champions." Like he never really identified them.
I think he said their names at least once.
I must have missed it. Yeah.
The bearded one was pretty hot. Actually, I enjoyed that quite a bit. And
yeah, they had like dad bods. They weren't like a traditional.
Yeah.
They weren't traditional.
That's why she finds them hot.
That's why I liked them.
Plus
the beard, you know.
And the risk of shame, and they were more of frat boys without the R.
Hey, they gave a good match though.
They can move. They were functionally fat, like offensive linemen. Yes. Yeah.
I really liked
like David Wells
when I really liked the little leapfrog spot that he turned into a suplex. That was cool. I was like, hey, what's up with you? Because it was early in the match. So and the chair shots were really fun on the outside. So yeah, good job.
I think when you get surprised by a match like this out of nowhere. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was just hard hitting and a hectic pace. The whole thing about it, everything was just exciting about it. I really liked it. All right, backstage, we got Tommy, Cairo, and Peaches. Cairo says anytime he gets close to that cane, Sandman gets it first, and he ends up with scars. This time, they'll be dueling canes. That's right, this feud's not over. He'll take his best shot.
Jesus.
Sandman better take his best shot, because Cairo will take his. Peaches lights a cigarette, says ever since they started dating, guess they're dating.
Finally.
That's what she's calling it anyway. It's Cairo that lights her fire, not Sandman. We get clips of the cane match from When Worlds Collide, as well as a bunch of other times the Sandman attacked him with the cane. We then hear from Sandman and Woman, and Sandman tells Cairo just to pay his bill instead of wanting more canes. Woman calls Peaches a bitch and says it's time to smoke them out. What do you guys think of this?
I'm not buying any.
Have you
sexual
seen?
between,
No.
Cairo.
And the way she lit that cigarette was awkward as fuck.
Oh my god, that would look like a crackhead cigarette. It was all like smashed
Yes,
up.
I was like, what is this?
What do you call
And
it?
then
It's
she,
one
like,
of those,
tries to-
it's one of those like long, like Virginia Slims. Like what do you call it?
Yeah.
Like, they used to call them like lady fingers or something. It was all smashed. It was
Are
all
those cookies,
smashed
lady
up,
fingers?
Vienna.
She tried to be cool and like
And
take
sexy,
a drag
yeah, it
and
was-
like blow it out and no smoke came out. I was like, okay.
And that was like the first time she admit like Tommy Cairo's that they're doing it, but I don't buy it.
Maybe
I
she
don't
finally
either.
gave him a handy in the bathroom just to shut him up.
I don't think so. Not even that, man.
Power stroke from Peaches.
She's the pits.
That cigarette's like something like in Clue, like
Yeah.
Mrs. Grape or the hell.
A little holder on it. Yeah.
Colonel Mustard has the big cigarette. Yeah. So I mean, this feud's still going. We thought hopefully it was going to end, but it looks like we're going to drag a little bit more out of it. It is a lot of rinse repeat. I mean, it is so much. Just like the
And
same thing
especially
over and over.
they reiterated with the montage of Cairo getting his ass kicked.
Yep.
Right. And he admits it. He's like, I basically, never like every time I go for the cane, Sandman ends up with it, and I end up beating up. All right, we get clips from Hostile City Showdown, where Taz beat Pitbull, and Pitbull 2 showed up to beat down Taz, and that brings us to our next match.
Fireball.
As Pitbull 2 comes out for his first match here to take on Mikey Whipwreck. Jason leads out his new team. They're locked in and menacing. Pitbull 2 getting a big title shot right away. And poor Mikey, going through hell yet again, looks scared out of his mind. Pitbull 2 manhandles Mikey as you'd expect. Watts is already burying the kid's reign within seconds. Makes me say it's over. Pitbull 2's vicious in his offense, obliterates Mikey, snuffs out any little hope he may have. Pitbull 2 almost murders him with a whip to the corner. I mean, Mikey's body looked like it was going to melt on contact. He fucking throws him so hard to the corner. Pitbull 2 just chucks him violently to the floor. Jason kicks him. Pitbull 2 heads out and keeps the beating rolling as Watts wants Mikey to destroy Jason so badly. He's begging for it. He's aching for it. Back inside, Pitbull 2 whiffs on a clothesline. Jason gets on the apron. Mikey smacks Jason, and Watts loves that. It's like a big win just right there for Mikey. Pitbull 2 mows down Mikey, but Pitbull is pissed, and he comes in for the DQ after Jason got hit. Mikey survives again. The Pitbulls and Jason destroy him after the bell, and then Taz comes out, but they beat him up too. Fun stuff as usual with Mikey just getting ragdolled around. Pitbull 2 is a fucking maniac. I mean, I think he watched Pitbull 1 promos and was like, I'm even more roided and coked up than you, motherfucker. I'm going to come out here and just fucking destroy this guy, rip his heart out, eat it, shit it out, and feed it back to him. I mean, that's pretty much where he's at with this. He's just like, I'm going to just wreck him. It felt more organic, too, than the other times I thought the finish. Like, we've talked about some of the hand-fisted finishes with Mikey, but this one made sense to me. Like, Pitbull has always been very protective of Jason. Jason gets hit. Pitbull's pissed. He comes in and attacks Mikey. He's like, he loses his mind. And we've established that the Pitbulls are fucking loose cannon, so makes sense. So Pitbulls and Jason are a great unit. I love the smarmy little bitch Jason, who's way too cocky, and then there's these two muscle heads backing him up. Now, it's a good pairing, classic pairing. Jenny, I went 2 stars.
I went 2 stars as well. I think I might be a little bit in love with sweet little Mikey. He's just so adorable and scared. Bless his little heart. He still walks out there every time, though. He gets in the ring and takes his beating. It's adorable. It really is. I have a soft spot for him now. And So Jason is ringside, and like he will turn around at times and like find the camera and look directly into
Yes.
it, and then start preening, just randomly. And it cracks me up every time I see him doing it. I don't know why. I mean, I've seen him do it all, like every single time he's on camera, but there's something about him turning around to look at the camera to do it that's funny to me. But the crowd did not like this very much. They are pretty awful tonight. I don't know. They could have added more to this, I think, because usually crowds are pretty hot for Mikey. But
Yeah, I don't like Scoop said. Hopefully, this will be the end of Mikey's reign. I'm like, what are you kidding me? It's one of the best, one of the best
begging
things
for it.
they got going. Yeah, the crowd loves it, and also I dug the spot where Pitt press slammed Mikey on the top rope, and,
Yes.
and instead of the usual, Mikey like fell outside the ring.
yes, that looked rough.
That was crazy. Yeah.
He just got murdered in this match. I mean, just
Yeah,
murdered.
he
It
did.
was a fucking brutal beating. That whip to
He
the
threw
corner.
he threw his face into the bottom turnbuckle.
Yep.
Like, holy shit.
That whip to the corner is like one of the hardest I've ever seen. I mean, that was so vicious. Like, I'm surprised Mikey's body didn't just like implode upon impact.
Yes. How is he withstanding all this? Like, I don't understand it.
Well, he's young. He's only like 18, here, right?
Yes.
Do we establish that yet? How old he was?
Yeah, he said 18, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, whatever. He's got a young man's body. He can withstand the beating.
Still,
He's only
though.
46 now. I mean, in wrestling world, like that's like kind of nothing. I mean, he could be, he's pretty much been done for quite a while. Looks like he retired. Well, he worked the indies to like 15, but yeah. So he was born in 73, so he was only 21. He would have been 21 here, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
June 4th, 73. So he would have just turned 21 for this match. So yeah, he could take the pain. When you're 21, you don't feel anything.
All right.
Paulie Dangerously's backstage as ECW producers have asked him to talk about July 16th and the big title match between Shane Douglas and Sabu. And then he bitches because he says the O.J. Simpson trial is dominating the airwaves, so this whole thing is a waste. Why are we even talking? He says he would lock O.J. in a room and gas him to death just so ECW could air unopposed. O.J. is a relic and an antique, but Shane and Sabu are the future of wrestling. Then he rants about Cactus Jack, saying if he ever returns to ECW, he'll make him feel as welcome as a South American soccer player that scores a goal on his own team. The future of wrestling will be determined on July 16th in a promotion filled with brawlers, giants, and animals. Douglas is a pure wrestler's wrestler and is the champion. Only one man has pinned Douglas in the last 4 years, and that was Sabu on October 2nd, 93 at Blood Feast 2, which we did not see. Everyone will find out who the future is on July 16th. Johnny, I really dug this promo.
Yeah, but Paulie doesn't miss any of the references. The '94 World Cup where the guy got aced for scoring a goal in his own goal.
Yeah, he is like it's funny because you get like at this time for Raw, Vince and Law, like they're trying to squeeze in these pop culture references and it feels so like forced and that they're dubbed in. Paul just like works them in so smoothly to his promos.
Effortlessly, yeah.
And he really went in on OJ, which is dangerous at this point.
And I like how they emphasize that Sabu, like wins or loss match, Sabu is the only one to pin Shane.
Rocking that ECW hat. Looking good. I like it, Paulie. Keep going. More promos.
Yeah, I mean, he's just great no matter what. It's like every week he's great. All right, next match is the one we hyped up last week, and that's Sabu, the number one contender for the ECW heavyweight title, taking on Chad Austin. 911 drags out Sabu, and he wastes no time going right at Austin off the bell. Sabu is a nasty Michinoku driver, and Scoop is breathless after that one. It was a great spot. Sabu tries a sunset flip to the floor, but he gets messed up, and that don't matter because it's still wild as fuck the way they slammed him down. Sabu puts Austin on a table. It's a slingshot, somersault senton through it, breaking Austin and the wood in half. Watts is just all fired up. He is feeling this match. Back inside, Sabu puts a chair on Austin's face. It's a slingshot leg drop onto it for the win. This match was damn near homicide. I mean, if we thought Mikey almost got murdered in that other match, like Sabu was a force of nature here, just never stopping, buzzes down Austin. And it was a beating filled with innovative stuff, too, at this time. Like, this shit no one else was doing, and he is just destroying him with it here. I went 2 stars. I mean, this is a real fast squash, but it was a fucking wild squash. It just again, a near homicide, like I said, John.
Yeah, I love the restrained Sabu. How 911 has to uncuff him and with Paulie, like Hannibal Lecter and shit. And yeah, just like it's really just like 3 to 4 of the sickest moves ever, just condensed in 2 minutes and for the squash. They're very elaborate but effective.
I find it impressive that Sabu is so savage and wild, and yet he still dresses better than anybody else in ECW. Like, this color combination is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a navy and like a teal green. And his boots and his belt mat is just beautiful. And then he just beautifully murders the shit out of Austin. Like, poor guy. Yeah, it was fun to watch, but I wish there had been more of it. So I went 1 star and 3/4.
Have to use this for Sabu. A little Arabian Nights.
I like it.
Yeah. I think he's supposed to be, he's like an Arabian royalty in a way. That's why he's got his color coordination.
It looks good, man.
Yeah, it does. He looks good. All right, after the break, Sabu gets carted out, but Hughes and Shane Douglas were headed to the ring, and we get an intense showdown. 911 and Hughes staring at each other. The crowd cheers on 911 for this one. That was a wild scene because Sabu is strapped down. He's rabid as Douglas and Hughes are staring down 911. Like, he wanted off that stretcher so bad. And then they make their way to the ring. Did you guys like that spot?
Yeah, I did.
Loved it, yeah.
All right, and that brings us to our main event of the night as Shane Douglas defends his ECW heavyweight title against Tommy Dreamer himself. Main event time. Dreamer still getting back in the swing of things. Dreamer comes in, but Hughes stays in and beats him down as he's pissed over 911. Douglas levels the ref, and it looks like this won't be a match. Douglas and Hughes beat on Tommy, with Hughes hitting a sidewalk slam. Hughes covers, and Douglas counts, but Tommy kicks out. The announcer then reveals that Dreamer won by DQ as the beating continues. Douglas tells Tommy to stay down as Watts puts over Tommy's guts. He reminds us he's the only man to kick out of the Superfly Splash and a sidewalk slam now. Shane hits a belly-to-belly, puts his foot on his chest, and calls out Sabu. Says he hasn't lost in 4 years. He says Steamboat lost their tag titles, and that Tom Zenk was put in a mask, and they called him Shane Douglas to taint his name back in WCW. Douglas puts over Hughes and tells the fans to shut up. Douglas dares Todd Gordon to fire or ban him, says nobody holds the title like he does, not Bret Hart or that old piece of shit Ric Flair. He says Sherry calls him every night to say Flair's not man enough for her. And then he says Sabu can't beat him one-on-one when he's healthy. Sabu may be a phenomenon, but he isn't a champion or the franchise. And Shane Douglas is really feeling himself and heating up. I thought this was great. Excellent promo from Shane. Just top-notch stuff, and he's really coming into his own here, Jenny. So what did you think of this whole segment? I thought Tommy looked like a little bit of a bitch, but I thought Douglas looked awesome.
Oh, yeah. Poor Tommy. I thought he was on the come-up, but no. And then Shane looks to me, finally, like the franchise. Pretty badass, and I thought it was hilarious when he said that Sherry calls him every night. Because Flair isn't man enough. Sure. I don't think that's what Flair is known for. So, nice try there, Shane.
Taking it personally. You going to text him and let him know?
Yeah, I will.
This just starts. Like, Shane's got a wicked hard on for Flair, and it's just starting now. Like, he invokes him a ton going forward here.
I disagree with you guys. I think Dream is good to go. They emphasized how he kicked out or the fake pin when Shane was counting the pin, and they were like, "Oh, Dream is he's kicked out of the sidewalk slam and Superfly Slash." They keep talking them back to that. So.
Well, yeah, but then Shane's there with his fucking boot on his chest.
Yeah, the foot on the chest. That was
that looks bad.
That was very extra. Yeah. but that was also great, to put over Shane and Colin Flair, old piece of shit. That's priceless right there. Excellent work.
That old piece of shit, Ric Flair. All right, let's get to our awards. Best match for me was Public Enemy and Phi Delta Slam.
Correct.
Yes.
Worst match, even though I liked it, I went with Pitbull and Mikey.
Do we count Shane Dreamer as a match?
No, I didn't really. I counted it more as like a segment.
Well, then I'm going Sabu Austin.
Okay. John?
Pitts.
All right, best moment. I went with Paul's promo, Sabu's nasty Michinoku driver to start the match, and then Shane's promo. I thought it was a good promo night.
Shane's promo.
Yeah.
Colin Flair, an old piece of shit.
Yeah.
Saying he's not man enough to give Sherry what she needs.
Yeah.
Not man enough for me. All right, most 90s. I went with the O.J. Simpson trial rant. That's about as 90s as it gets.
Obviously.
I'm going with Jason's blue hammer pants. Because I have a soft spot. I have a pretty good idea. I think I have those exact pants somewhere in my own eagle's nest. So I have to dig them out.
Dig them out. I want a picture. I want the freak out driving hoodie with the hammer pants.
A Jason cosplay at Mania.
I don't got the body for it.
You got time. Start lifting. All right, Stock Rising. I went with Phi Delta Slam, Woman and Sandman, the Pitbulls, and Shane Douglas. So I went with a lot of good on this show.
Phi Deltas for sure, and Shane.
Yeah, Shane.
Stock Falling. I went with Chad Austin, who just got murdered, and Tommy, who looks kind of like a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Nah, just Austin, not Dreamer.
He likes Dreamer.
Doesn't want to dream alone. All right, final grade. I thought this was an upgrade from our last episode. I thought it was a really good episode. The matches were all a lot of fun. Excellent promos. It flew by. Even Watts was into it. The crowd might have been a little bit down, but the rest of it really popped. And just really, Shane is like just building himself up into like a star here too. We're watching him grow. So I went 7 out of 10, John.
6.5.
Jenny?
7 out of 10 again.
All right, very good. All right, why don't we go and take a break? When we come back, we will hit our last episode and wrap things up.
Sounds good.
Now I'm in the U.S. making deals. Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. I mean, one that you don't really know. Riding around town in a drop-top Benz, hitting switches in my black 6.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Place to Be Nations, JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have over 24 podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. We now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE to the glory days of yesteryear and the ins and outs of the territory days. In addition to our full-length shows, we also deliver to you special pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is a veritable treasure trove of great content. Offer tremendous shows covering the land of movies, television, life, comics, and sports, brought to you by the most knowledgeable and insightful folks in the podcast world.
You can find all of these current shows, plus archives of our previous podcasts over the past 8 years as well, by subscribing to our feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others available at PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth stretch projects and more. Be sure to support our site by using www.placetobenation.com/Amazon while doing your online shopping. And be sure to join us at our forum at bigelow34.proboards.com for all sorts of wrestling, sports, and pop culture discussion each and every day, where you can make your voice heard. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and TheHistoryOfWrestling.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
You're a rich girl, and you're gone too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. You can rely on the old man's money, you can rely on the old man's money. It's a bitch, girl, but it's gone too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. Say money, money won't get you too far, get you too far.
All right, welcome back to the PTBN Extreme Three-Way Dance. JT, Johnny, Jenny here, talking some June and July '94 EC Dub. But first, let's talk a little Place to Be Nation, because we have lots of stuff for you on both our feeds. Place to Be Nation Pop feed has some shows like the Hard Traveling Fanboys, the longest-running weekly episodic comic podcast, and all of Place to Be Nation, starring Greg Phillips, Nicholas Duke. DC4U, in-depth look at the world of DC Comics with Russell Sellers and Todd Weber. The Marvel Age podcast, Nick Duke, Tim Capel, Russell Sellers, and Todd Weber go through the history of Marvel Comics. We also have Laugh-In Theater, which is a live watch comedy movie podcast hosted by Andy Adamson. The Brother Sister Rewatch podcast, one of my favorites. Siblings Kevin and Mary, reliving the classic sitcom The Office. They go episode by episode. The Great Debate podcast, where host Andy Atherton leads a panel through a series of arguments on topics far and wide. Of course, we also have the Glenn Butler podcast, Hour Spectacular. Brings you deep thoughts from the minds of Glenn Butler, his family and friends. This week in the NFL, you, Johnny, and Cowboy go through recaps and previews of each week of the NFL season. We also have the NBA team with Adam Murray and Andrew Reich covering the world of hoops from coast to coast. The Year in Pop is a deep dive into pop culture year by year with Andy, Scott Criscolo, Dr. G, and you, John. Diamond Conversations, host Chad B brings in guests from in and around the baseball world for in-depth conversations. Sunday Groove, podcast for music lovers far and wide, hosted by David Sunday. PTBN Ticket Attraction, a theme park-focused podcast with Jason Sherman. And looking forward, looking back pop culture, and looking forward, looking back sports. Those are quarterly episodes. Plus special topical pod blasts and podcasts like Pop Goes to the Movies, Pop Goes to Classics, Pop Goes to the Couch. And we also had a all-new special on that feed previewing the next tournament that starts on this day right here that you're listening to, November 25th. Monday is the debut kickoff launch of the PTBN Greatest Sitcom Ever tournament. So you can find our Facebook page by searching PTBN Greatest Sitcom Ever, or follow our Twitter account at PlayStation Nation. Polls will be up there each and every day, and you can get your votes in. This is going to be a lengthy ride, but enjoy it. There's tons of sitcoms out there for you to get into, and the preview podcast was Andy, Scott, and Todd breaking down the entire, and I mean entire, field.
People are hyped for this, yo.
They are pumped. Getting questions left and right about it. It's kicking off today. PlayStation Wrestling Feed. You have the PlayStation Podcast, myself and Scott Criscolo take you chronologically through the history of WWE. Scott also hosts the main event. Him, brother Nate Milton, and Steve Willie breaking down all the current events in the world of wrestling. Wrestling Warzone, myself and Chad Campbell, a podcast retrospective reliving the iconic Monday Night Wars. Row 1, Seat 1, hosted by Ben Zanni, takes an interesting look inside the world of small-town wrestling and beyond. Talking WCW, Jenny, it's you, Tim Cable, and Greg Phillips paying tribute to the legendary Dirty South promotion. It's each and every month. Bobby Press Your Luck, a brand new wrestling game show, also monthly. Myself and Jordan Duncan kicked that off in November. If you love wrestling trivia, that is the show for you. With This Ring, husband and wife Ryan and Cindy Everett discuss specific matches and their respective fandoms along the way. We also have You Don't Know Billy Jack, where Drew Warlaw and his friend Jordan watch and discuss some of the greatest pro wrestling matches of all time through the eyes of a non-wrestling fan. We also have monthly pay-per-view reaction shows, semi-regular shows like Jenny and the Gems, No Holds Barred, The Adams Division, and Jeff Learns Wrestling, plus a brand new show coming soon as well from our friends across the pond. Don't forget to check out PlayStation.com each and every day. New voices, fresh takes, including brand new articles and stuff like SmackDown and Fox Report with John Crow. with Trent Williams, This Week in Dirty with John Crow, Paulie's Perspective, Jason's DVD Deep Dive, and Ben's Unpopular Opinion, plus veteran columns like Wednesday Walk Around the Web from Glenn Butler, and Campus Hot Takes with Scott Crisco and Logan Crossland, looking back at the week and previewing the week ahead in college football. And Jenny, I'm going to stop so you can tell us about the Jenny Position.
The Jenny Position is my podcast feed where you can find my shows like Geek Sassy, Talking Pop, Freak Out Drive-In, Telling Stories, and a new podcast that I just recorded this week that will be on Marvel Mondays. It is a journey through infinity. We are going through all of the MCU, watching all of the movies, and doing podcasts. And you are on that show along with Scott Criscolo, yes, you, and Tim Cable. Mm-hmm. So check that out on Marvel Monday.
Yeah, we started with Iron Man. So I've never seen these movies, so this is like just a fresh journey for me. I watched all the Netflix shows. Now I'm doing the movies, so we're going to basically do an episode about each one. So this one that debuted on Marvel Monday today was all about Iron Man 1. Right?
Beginning, the best, yes.
Okay. If you're shopping, PlayStation.com/Amazon takes you right to Amazon. Helps us without any additional cost to you while you're helping us. So do that. Also check out our social media pages, message board, bigelow34.proboards.com, information on the GWE pay-per-view TV Match Ever project. Get in on that conversation today. Get your lists in as well. Ballots are open, available at the message board or on our Facebook page. And if you're not in either of those and you can't find it, just reach out to me and I'll send you the link. We've already got a couple of ballots in. Will start flowing due December 31st. Now we move on to July 12th, 1994, the final episode of television that we're going to talk about here tonight. Jay Six-Pack Sully in the house opens up narrating a video on the issues between the Funk Brothers and the Public Enemy. We get a promo hit from Public Enemy, who was very confident to take out the Funks for good. Opening animation and a long music video with some highlights about the arrival of Pitbull 2, all the ongoing issues with Taz, the beatdown of Mikey. We hear from Jason. He talks about his Pitbulls. Pitbull rages as always. We then get clips of Sabu and Austin from last week and the ensuing showdown between Mr. Hughes and 911, and eventually the beatdown of Tommy and Shane Douglas's promo. So we saw kind of a really big hit recap here to open the show. Any thoughts on this stuff?
He said Dory skunk, and I popped really hard for it. So,
if only you knew you ripped it off when you came up with it on Jenny and the Gems.
Exactly. I know. I didn't even know.
And they PE spit another 94 classic. What's up, Doc? Henry Rock by the
Fushnickens.
By the Fushnickens. There you go. And who else? And who?
Shaq.
Of course. Can't get one by you. You got it.
That's a fucking banger. What up, Doc? Let's see. I want to see when that came out too. That must have been right up around here too. June 8th, 93. Fushnickens and Shaquille O'Neal. Foo fucking Schnickens. Sorry. Here comes the Superfly for a big match with one and only Taz. But we're also excited because our boy Joey Styles is back inside the Eagle's Nest. Joey. Exciting times.
It is.
Joey.
He is back. Joey. The reign of Scoop Watts is officially in the books.
Yes,
Joey's back. Jesus. All right, the animals circle each other, trying to get a feel and settle in. Taz shoves Snuka. He doesn't do anything else. The two of them keep staring and staying calm. Joey says Taz looks human, showing respect. Joey says Taz and a mystery partner will battle the Pitbulls on Saturday. We get a couple of shoulder block standoffs, and we're just edging into this. Snuka lands some chops, but Taz reverses a whip. Hunter fucks up and pulls the top rope down. Snuka just slams off it and then collapses. Instead of falling over, Taz takes him over with a bridging belly-to-belly for the win. Hunter Q comes in, flips out on Snuka, calling him Monkey Boy, which I guess is a running slur here in ECW. Taz comes in and gets involved as well. Snuka goes to punch Hunter, but Taz stops him. And then the Pitbulls come out and beat down Taz. Snuka wants to help Taz, but Hunter shuffles off with him. Taz fights back on his own and wins the battle. Taz cleans house on a flurry of wrestlers that come in as well. Not good. Nothing happened. The finish was botched. Weird dynamic that they went for. But I think it's about establishing respect between Snuka and Taz here. Joey explains that Snuka was Taz's hero, and he didn't want to see him violently attack Hunter. He's trying to get through to him, and didn't want to see him go down like that. So I went 1/4 star, Johnny. Just kind of a thing that was there.
Yeah, 1 star. Even though Snuka's washed up, he's still in tremendous shape physically.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I didn't. It was good to see Hunter Q finally show some fire. But I didn't buy how all of a sudden Snuka made up with him. All of a sudden, it looked like 1 second he was going to deck him, and then Taz
I don't know if it was made up. He kind of he thought about it, and then Hunter it's almost like he pushes him out of there before Taz can even think about anything else. It was more like I think it's more like that Snuka is just mentally not capable, and Hunter convinces him quickly. He basically cooled the animalistic feelings.
I don't know. He called him Monkey Boy. I mean, you think that would fire a person up. Does he even understand
what he's saying, though? Does he speak? I don't know. He's a wild animal. That's how they portray him.
Well, he's not wild in this match. He's kind of lame as shit.
He is subdued.
I was like, okay, this is not fitting with the wildness that I was expecting, especially from Taz.
Right.
It was pretty boring for me. 1/4 star.
Sam and a woman are backstage. Do you have something else to say?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Sam and a woman are backstage, and they said Mikey Whipwreck has to pay his bill to both of them. Everyone owes bills. No one pays. It's like you, John. Everyone owes you money, but no one pays you. Here we go for our next match. Now all I want is D'Amato, cigarette in mouth. Greeny, pay your bills!
With a cane.
Sandman taking out Mikey Whipwreck. Sandman and a woman saunter out looking confident. Mikey shuffles out looking sick to his stomach. Joey says this is a great moment for Mikey. The great moment of Mikey winning the title is basically ruin his life at the same time. The crowd is all in on Mikey here, piling on Sandman. Sandman goes right at Mikey, buries him with a suplex. Mikey gets dumped outside. A woman kicks away. Joey says if Mikey wins, he gets to face Chad Austin on Saturday. So seems like a treat after this. Sandman keeps on offense, battering Mikey in and out of the ring. Sandman goes up and drops an ugly elbow off the top, but doesn't cover. Pacing around instead, Sandman goes up and hits another elbow, pulls out a cigarette and has a smoke, goes up top again until Tommy Cairo ambles over and bashes Sandman with a cane. Cairo lights up Mikey and Sandman, and the ref calls for the bell as Mikey escapes yet again. This is all right. Not as fun as the other Mikey murder squashes that we've seen. And the ending worked okay, I guess, if you're into seeing more of this cane stuff between Cairo and Sandman. You're getting it with that. But beyond that, this was not as well executed as some of the other Mikey stuff we've seen.
I was glad to finally see Cairo get some balls and not like finally get one up on Sandman. That was different. And at least it's from what we've been seeing that Sandman always gets the upper hand. But Mikey, out of all his matches, he had the best reluctant, like, oh shit, I'm going to get my ass kick walk to the ring.
Yes.
And as he's like slapping fans' hands, and he still got like that look on his face, like, oh shit, like it's like somebody dragging into work on a Monday morning. It's like, oh god, just he just keeps doing it better and better every week. Terrific.
God, I love him. He's so cute. Bless his little heart. Yeah, it was like a 1-star for me. I never imagined I would get tired of canes just because of who I am as a person, but I'm kind of over these canes already, y'all. Like, we've done this too much. Let's move on.
Yeah,
I mean, I was kind of glad to see Sandman with anybody else other than Cairo.
That's true. The cane is not going away. I think it does get a little bit better, but it's not going away.
Okay, well.
But I loved how Joey explained, like, when Cairo whacked Mikey, and it looked like, hey, what was Cairo's doing a heel turn or whatever, but Joey brilliantly like laid it out like Cairo did it just so he could get so Sandman could get disqualified.
Right. Yeah. No. It was good to see him explain it. Yeah. So it wasn't left out there with some confusion. Do you like the cane when it's being used for sodomy, Jenny? Is that okay?
I mean, that's preferable to what we've got going on right here.
Okay. Public Enemy walking around the arena looking for a partner for the 6-man tag tonight. They rant and rave and worry about what's to come. They find some fat slob who seems to be drunk. They fuck with him a bit before earning some respect for the guy. Public Enemy chooses him as their tag partner. They tear his shirt off, give him official Public Enemy gear, and dub him the Hopeless Hoodie. So, you remember the crew.
He said he's got one big abdominal. I died. That was hilarious.
He's been eating at some soup kitchens. And he had a cut off shirt from Goldfingers, the famous strip club.
I was wondering what that was.
Not Ladyfingers?
Yeah. Nah, Goldfingers is a famous strip club here in the Queens, New York area.
Oh, there you go. Oh, he's probably working the buffet or something. Shane Douglas and Mr. Hughes are backstage. He says he's always been a great quarterback, and now he's got a top O-line in front of him. Hughes calls out 911, says he isn't paid to look pretty. If 911 gets in his way, he'll take him out. This weekend, we'll find out who the future of wrestling is and the future of ECW. He wears the gold day in and day out. He spent 12 years to show he is the best. Whether it's 1994 or 2004, he'll be the epitome of wrestling. He has offered matches to Bret Hart and Ric Flair, and neither have accepted. He says he's flipping channels the other day, and he thought he saw Sherry with Bob Barker, but it was actually that old piece of shit Ric Flair. Sherry took a wrong turn, but the wrestling world is watching ECW. We also get highlights of Hughes in the ring and the stare down with 911. Just a fantastic, sharp promo, cutting edge at the time, really, with the shit he's saying about Flair and Hart, and even just burying Sherry for bailing and going to WCW. And just they're really trying to play off WCW is not cool in ECW. It's like just the place to be, pun intended. What'd you guys think of this one?
Fire. Straight fire from Shane. I like it so much. Even though they're shitting on WCW, which I do not enjoy, but, got to do what you got to do.
More
Shane.
of that to come for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm mesmerized by Shane's teeth. They're tremendous. I'm so jealous. He's got perfect teeth. I can't stop staring at him when he gives his promos.
Maybe he goes to Britt Baker DMD.
Probably does. She's a dentist,
yeah. Rock and Rebel heads to the ring to take on Stone Cold Chad Austin. Austin looks pretty subdued. Grabs a promo to talk about the match with Sabu. He says everyone cheers for the circus freak. They think they're insiders and he calls the fans scumbags. Austin mocks the fans. The Styles says his fan club of 45 to 50 people are here. They're disappointed in his actions. The Chad Austin fan club has flown in. They're hanging out. Rebel and Jason strut out. Austin says he has a present for him, and he just lies down. Stops Rebel from punching him, says just pin him. So he lets Rebel cover for the win, and Rebel's so good because most of the time you get a guy like doesn't want to take but Rebel just all right, yeah, just takes the pin and leaves. Whatever. Austin says that win is dedicated to his scumbag fans. Rebel thanks him and shakes his hand. He says he's tough. Rebel says Austin could be championship material. Fun bit here. We got some good character development, something from Austin besides just being bland babyface jobber number 7. So I kind of dug this. It was a fun little bit.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, when he dedicated the loss to the Philly scumbags.
Why would you dedicate a loss?
Because they're losers.
They're losers. I loved his jacket too. That shit was sharp. It had his name on it, ECW on the back.
He's ready to go. So you can tell he's working his way up the ladder.
Hell yeah.
Sandman and Woman are backstage. She says she hates Tommy Cairo's name, his face, and his stench. Both Peaches and Cairo keep trying to cane her because they can't have her. Sandman keeps asking Cairo if he wants to bang with him as he smashes a cane against his own head and busts his own head open. He tells Cairo to pay his bills.
More caning.
A lot of caning, some blood.
Self-caning.
Banging. Good, intense, pissed off promo. I like this one.
Me too.
A lot of blood.
Paulie's outside, talks about how the world's biggest promoter is in a courtroom, and the other one's pretending to be Vern Gagne from 1972. Funk may be older, but he's part of the natural evolution of wrestling, which is a mix of great wrestling and violent hardcore. This Saturday, the future will be determined thanks to Sabu doing what he does to prove has to do to prove himself, even if they have to go O.J. Simpson on Shane Douglas. So again, more references, shitting on Vince. Of course, he was in the middle of his lawsuit at this point for the steroid trial. That's a reference about the courtroom. And then I guess, is he just saying WCW is like antiquated when he says Bischoff is basically emulating Vern Gagne in 1972? I'm guessing that was the gimmick there, John.
Yeah, Paulie never runs out of OJ references.
No,
Jesus. And also, I like that shot outside the ECW arena.
Me too.
That was some members of the nation took a stroll around there. They walked from the ECW arena to a place after the show for some dinner.
Some of them.
To what place?
To get a bite to eat.
Yeah.
At a restaurant,
Just
gentleman's restaurant. Yeah.
Just a bite.
Like a buffet, maybe.
Now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now.
Double dipping as the Funk Brothers and Tommy Dreamer come out for our main event to take on the Public Enemy and the Hopeless Hoodie. Joey hypes the FMW-style barbed wire match big time during Public Enemy's entrance. We'll be seeing that on Saturday. The Funks and Dreamer, they come out, but Rock sneaks around and smashes Dory with a chair. Dreamer and Terry chase him off, so Grunge comes over and batters Dory more with the chair. Dreamer comes back, and he gets level 2. Public Enemy double up on Funk in and out of the ring as Hoodie chants them on. Funk dumps Public Enemy into the crowd, but Rock returns and smothers him. Dory returns with the chair as Grunge hits Hoodie with the chair by accident. Dory slugs Grunge with his classic forearms as Terry and Rock spill outside. Everyone heads into the crowd. They're using chairs and fists in a hot, wild brawl. Dreamer bulldogs Hoodie on a chair in the ring and gets the win, but the Funks and Public Enemy brawl rolls into the crowd. Douglas comes out and attacks Dreamer. They go at it. Grunge gets chucked through a wall as the locker room empties out to break up Douglas and Dreamer. Hughes and 911 end up in a stare down in between the whole locker room. And then Hughes decks 911 twice, but 911 just shrugs it off and goes after the throat. They get pulled apart. Dreamer and Douglas go at it again. Just a real wild scene here. Sabu shows up. He goes up top and gets a spin heel kick on Douglas and then unloads on him. Terry returns with a piece of wood, chucks it into the ring as everyone's brawling. Chairs are flying. Sabu's losing his mind, calling for the 5-0. Joey, I should say, not Sabu. Joey's calling for the police. The brawl goes on. Sabu hits a somersault senton on Douglas on the floor, but Douglas comes back and hits him with a chair. They brawl to the crowd. The Funks beat on poor Stevie Richards in the ring for fun. Styles gives a final hard sell for Saturday, and we are out. Red hot finish. The match is whatever, but that didn't matter. The whole segment was amazingly well done, loaded with action, chaos. Styles masterfully narrated us through it, just selling everything that's going on while hyping the big show Saturday. A really well done hard sell to close us out. 2 stars for the match. but many stars for the post-match brawl, Jenny.
Yes, I included that in my rating, so I went 2.5. But oh my God, I rewound Dory Funk getting hit by that chair like 8 times because it's fucking hilarious. The way that he falls down. And it's so sudden. Anyway, it was wonderful. I love the fucking everybody going wild at the end and Sabu just crashing everybody's shit. Like, it was awesome. Like, I don't think we've seen a big locker room pile out before. Not like this. So it was really, really cool to see everybody in the ring, like, just brawling it out. Fun shit.
Yeah, I didn't. They emptied out the whole roster pretty much.
Everybody was there.
Anybody that worked for ECW, but I just didn't understand because it just seemed like a basic brawl between Shane and Sabu, and that's the one that causes the whole locker room to be unleashed. I mean, we saw like in the past we saw like Sullivan nail people with hammers and stuff, and nobody ever came out. Nobody ever came out to help anybody, but like Shane and Sabu fight for like 30 seconds, and that like sparks it.
Well, that was it's our big money match. We can't risk it. Guys getting hurt.
Yeah, it was a wild scene. And then it also sets up Hughes and 911. They keep stringing that along, and them two squaring off.
You think 911 will get a choke slam on Hughes?
We'll see. We'll see.
He better hope that's his only move.
All right, let's wrap up with some awards. Best match, I went with the main event, the Public Enemy and the Hoodie versus Dreamer and the Funks.
The Hopeless Hoodie, yeah, the Helpless Hoodie.
Worst match, I went Taz and Snuka.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best moment, I like Sandman smoking while on the top rope, and then the end of the show, Chaos.
I like Dory Funk getting hit by that fucking chair.
I'm going with the PE finding the homeless hoodie promo.
Most 90s, I went with Sandman Zuba's pants.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Stock Rising, Douglas and Hughes, Chad Austin, who I thought had his best night, and then the Funks.
Austin, for sure. And definitely Hopeless Hoodie.
I've got to go with Cairo for finally getting one over on the Sandman.
Stock Falling, I went stupid old Hunter Q, Snuka, and the Hoodie.
The Hoodie from Murphy Homes in Baltimore.
What do you mean Stock Falling on the Hoodie?
Come on.
I don't get it.
Got his ass kicked.
The Hopeless Hoodie.
Well, he was a rando from the street, man.
His one big abdominal didn't help him.
One big abdominal. He worked hard for that one big abdominal. I don't have anybody for Fallen right now.
Okay.
Honestly.
Not even Hunter Q?
No, I mean, he stood up for himself. I don't know. He was all right.
Come on, he sucks.
I said his self.
All right. Final grade. I had this about on par with the first one we watched tonight. A couple of good matches and good moments. That hot brawl at the end really carried things, and the promo work, as always. Paul's was great, and we saw some really good stuff there. So I went 6 out of 10, Jenny.
6 out of 10.
6.5.
All right.
He likes that one big abdominal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hopeless Hoodie.
All right, so that'll do it for us here tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed another trip through hardcore history. We'll be back next week with 4 more episodes that'll take us up to hardcore heaven. So we're going to finish July and get into August, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for that. So, Jenny, anything you want to talk about?
I was on an episode of the Place to Be podcast, so that was fun, and you should listen to that. Gotten some pretty good feedback about my performance on that show. I've recorded like 6 podcasts this week, so let me think. Freak Out Drive-In. I had an episode of that with Peter Winston when we watched The Village from M. Night Shyamalan. And then a new Geek and Sassy will be coming up this week where we talk about anime. So check that one out too.
All right, very good. John?
Yes, the boss and Jenny's PIC had me on for a little Disney Plus preview. They wanted the 70s and 80s perspective. And also with the Shermanator, Jason Sherman, we had a good time previewing what everybody first watched on Disney Plus and their experience getting the service. It's a good show.
I know when I think Disney Plus, I think of you, John.
They needed the 70s and 80s perspective.
Old Steamboat D'Amato himself was choo-chooing his way into that podcast. All right, Jenny mentioned the Place to Be podcast that hit last week. Jenny did a great job. That was a lot of fun. We looked at the 290 MSG. I think that's probably it. That's all I got really to talk about there. So,
Besides Marvel Monday.
Marvel Monday, yes. Hear me talk Iron Man. Comics aficionado that I am. All right, let's go home. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for our next episode, which will be coming at you in a couple weeks' time. For John, Jenny, I'm Justin, JT. We're out. Talk to you soon. Everyone, take care.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Stay hardcore.
Dollar bill, yo.
Hey, yo, Bill.
But you can't even come right. What the stroking and hoping and pulling up peace like what the f is happening? Shit up. Scripts and hits. I hit. The pull your own as I'm singing. I'm the piper, effective on viper. When I'm on the you better touch the cipher. In other words, you better make a funky decision. Cause I'm gonna be a shack knife and cut you in position. Forget Tony Danza, I'm the boss. When it comes to money, I'm like Dick the Boss. Now who's the first pick me? Word this morning. Not a Christian late, not a long of morning. That's okay, not being braggadocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I gotta go, I ain't no joke. Now I slam it, jam it, and make sure it's broke.